Welcome, everybody, to the Streakers Island podcast live edition. It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, and we are joined by the usual suspects. Chazzy looks like he's trying to hide the fact that he is so beautiful. Chazzy, you may be the dashingest one of them all today, as Lane's taking the night off. And, of course, Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo!
I see, Chazzy, you're at 6.99, so your seventh update's very close.
Oh, yeah, the last 4 days, even though we've been on vacation mode, we've been working hard on the app and lots to come.
Oh,
even a lot of unique creators we've been talking to, and an exciting one coming up, going to be speaking to about using the app. So
cool.
That original content.
Yes, original content's the best.
Hey, and we're always here to help out content creators, right? So if you're looking to do what we're doing, make sure to send us a message ASAP as soon as possible.
And actually, anyone that remember we had the prop on the Island podcast channel for Mitch Marner. Will he sign for 14 million plus? Obviously, that's a no, because
I did say no.
Speculation, mind you, there's been a lot of speculation. Looks like for the last 5 or 6 days.
Oh, it's been crazy.
He has signed. Is it a sign and trade, or is that
sign and trade?
Sign and trade.
But for 13 on average.
12.
12.
Same as the Rantanen contract. 12 times 8, 96 million.
Okay.
And we got Nicholas Roy the other way, who is actually a decent, very decent for the fourth line center. So it might be some competition now with Max Domi and Scott Lawton and David Kemp.
However, sticking with Leaf news a little bit, we did also see Lawrence sign a 3-year deal worth $1.35 million a year. However, they cannot be going after Brad Marchand now because Brad Marchand has just re-signed in Florida. And I think Toronto quickly pivoted. And I don't know much about this Marcel, but they traded a third-round pick to bring in Marcel, is on his last year of a restricted contract worth $3.43 million. I've been seeing a lot of mixed reviews on this trade. I think it makes sense because he's a guy you can play in your top 6, and you need someone to go there.
Top 6?
Yep.
Are you on crack? Top 6. He's got like 30 points.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, but we need to replace Mitch Marner, got 100 points. We need leadership. We need physicality. We need fighting. We need hits. He got 18 points last year in 55 games. Okay?
So more for who are you anticipating now? Seems like the well's drying up in the last 12 hours.
Well, that's the thing. We're coming on to more of our free agency show. Hopefully some more action happens. The big fish is left on the sheet. You think about Mitch Marner gone, Aaron Ekblad gone, Sam Bennett gone, Brad Marchand gone. Patty Kane just signed $7 million 1 year gone.
No, $3 million.
The big John Tavares gone. The big ones left are Brock Besser out of Vancouver and Nicholas Ehlers out of Winnipeg. So let's face it, if Toronto doesn't get one of these two players, they failed at this point. That's nothing a giant trade.
I don't completely agree with you more for. I still feel
the problem with this guy, he's only 5'11", 185 pounds. That's probably soaking wet. So, I mean, what are we doing?
Okay.
And we're trying to clear cap space, not add $3 million space.
We have cap space. The team has plenty of cap space. Number 2, all right, you still have Mikael Granlund on the market. Ryan Lindgren as a pretty good left shot defenseman. By the way, with Mikael Granlund, I had him on our top 10 list right from the beginning. This is a very
that's right.
You got Pius Suter out of Vancouver, who's a good depth player.
Yeah, he had a great year last year.
Corey Perry, if he doesn't resign.
Max Pacioretty, too, hasn't resigned in Toronto.
Actually, do you know when we're talking about guys, and this is someone that's not making anyone's top list or whatever, but I'm looking at a guy like Mangiapane.
Oh, yes. He had an off year. He's a good player.
He had an off year last year. Will back in with the fan mail, Mr. Moore 4.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm looking at this, right? And you still have Mason Appleton, Adam Gaudette, Anthony Beauvillier.
Like the analysts, are you surprised you haven't made any big moves?
Not at all.
Suter had 46 points last year in 81 games, so he had a clear year last year. Very good player. Andy Pani too. I think he would be a nice pickup with someone. He was in Washington last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't quite work out Washington in my opinion, but he had good years like back in the day of Calgary and different situations like that. So I could definitely see.
But I mean, well, you absolutely should be getting fired up because I don't care what anyone says. Free agent frenzy is always a hell of a day. We're going to be live free agent frenzy starting at around 12:30 in the afternoon. I'll probably pop on quick in the morning just as a quick, if anything major comes up, just to quickly get it out there. But we will be on and off throughout the day, kind of talking about what's going on, what teams are going for. Maybe I'll read another book. Chazzy, you missed that.
Oh, yeah, getting fired up.
I read a book. I read If I Ran the Zoo by Mr. Drew. So I want to see if I could read the entirety of the book before we got to the next pick. And I got about 3/4 of the way through. That draft was bad.
That was painful.
But you know what? I feel with this free agent frenzy here, I'm a bit of a different opinion. Yeah, there's not the superstars, but I'm seeing a lot of very good players. I look at Jeff Skinner. I think Jeff Skinner could have a real solid bounce back year. James Van Riemsdyk, if someone's looking for some veteran depth. Max Pacioretty still isn't signed in Toronto yet, right? And
don't forget
Evgeny Dandinov put up 40 points last year. That's another very solid player.
Dmitry Orlov, another great defenseman we had in our top 10. Andrew Maripani, just want to point out, he had 28 points last year, but before that in Calgary, he had a 55-point year, 35 goals, and a few 40-point years. So he is a very good winger you can get for a really good deal because of the disappointing year last year with my boys, the Capitals. So, hopefully he gets some good money tomorrow. So,
but no, I just think when everyone's going on, this is a bad draft,
like you said.
Everyone's going on, this is a bad free agency. I disagree. I just think it's a different free agency.
More
There's not as many of those, let's be honest, if someone is looking for pure goal scoring, they're going after Nikolai Ehlers or Brock Besser. Now, I've been hearing Brock Besser could be very well going to the Winnipeg Jets, as it looks like Ehlers is testing the open market. That's who I actually would like to see Toronto go for is Nikolai Ehlers. Give him it because you got Nyes cheaper than what I thought you were going to. You got players for cheaper than what I thought you were going to.
Yeah. So and Steven Lorentz cheaper.
Lorentz is what I thought you'd pay him.
I thought Steven Lorentz in the open market would get about 2. So he got him 1.3. I think it's a good contract.
Nothing like what they did.
I was expecting to make big money.
Nothing like what they did in Florida, though. That GM.
No, I was crazy.
In Florida, they've done what I kept saying I didn't think they could do unless every player took a hometown discount. And then what happened? Every player took a hometown discount. Sam Bennett could have got 10 on the open market. There's rumors that the Leafs were willing to pay Brad Marchand up to 9, just because I think it's just so they don't have to face him. They won't even play him. Just go away.
Yeah, exactly.
And Aaron Ekblad, I think he could have got 8 to 9, especially seeing him. I mean, Evan Bouchard just signed for what, 10.5, 10?
Ekblad, yeah. Ekblad, that's
10.5,
honor. You draft him, 8-year deal, and then you give him another 8-year deal. That's just loyalty right there.
Yeah.
No, I think Florida. So I don't expect Florida. They'll pick up. They're going to go for a backup goalie. I don't think they'll go the Jake Allen route. I think they're going to go cheaper.
I disagree. I think they're going to go with James Weimer again. James Weimer's played very in the past. You're going to give him what, $1 million, $2 million at the max. And Weimer has a veteran experience. He's a veteran. He's got experience, and you'll play him probably 25 or 30 games next year, and have him as a backup just in case Waski is injured. I like.
No, I think they're going to go younger. I think they're going to go younger. I look at an Anton Forsberg out of Ottawa who still doesn't have a deal yet, and that's
but they get $1 million. I don't think so.
They're going to get him for projected salaries 2.8. Say to him, hey, come here for 2 and try to
win
your first cup. Anton Forsberg's a good goalie. 2.72 goals against average, 901.
No, I understand that.
Either that or I might watch out for a team looking to fix the goaltending Edmonton to go and look at a guy like Anton Forsberg. I think Anton Forsberg is good enough to be a starting goalie in the NHL. I mean, they should have traded for John Gibson, but they didn't. I don't really know what they're doing, especially now they're not going to have money because they just gave Evan Bouchard 10.5 over 4. So you got to look at cheaper options. You're going to be out of the cheaper options. Jake Allen, I'm hearing, could get up to $5 million in the open market because he's the best goalie available right now. So they can't. Edmonton cannot pay Jake Allen $5 million. So then who's left?
I'm an Edmonton fan. I'm really concerned because you got rid of Andrew Kane's $5 million, fine and dandy, but you gave Trent Frederick of all players $4 million. You gave Bouchard $10.5 million. You have Darnell Nurse at $9.5. You have Ekholm at $6.5. You have Connor McDavid and Draisaitl at 12 plus each. I mean, what's left? And you still got a lot of those. They did resign Sakari Kapanen today, which is a very nice $1.3 million deal. I thought it was a very good signing. I thought he could have easily got 1.5 or 2 in the open market, and that's how Edmonton's going to get creative with, right? They'll have to bring in depth guys under $2 million, and hopefully they can fill in the Wolves. I don't know, but that's the thing I'm concerned about Edmonton is goaltending. And the other thing, too, is it's like Wallman, I think, is going to be a contract coming up in the next year or two as a restricted free agent.
Edmonton does not give two hoots about a year or two.
Well, that's true.
All Edmonton wants to do is win now. Which I personally, if I was going to sign Evan Bouchard for this much money, I would have only given him a 1-year deal because you got to sign McDavid.
Well, that's what I was saying. We were talking off camera, right, Jacob? But it's like,
but there's been some other big signings too. The LA Kings re-signed Kuzmenko for 4.3 for a year. The Brad Marchand one obviously is huge. Personally, I think you're going to look back at that one at the steal of free agency.
Brad Marchand
at 5.25 over 6 years. Yeah, the term's a little long, but let's be honest, you're just going to let him be injured, and then he'll just
37 right
retire.
now.
So. We also saw some smaller signings, too, with the Ottawa Senators bringing back one of their younger players. Same with Detroit, both bringing in 2 restricted free agents. Evan Bouchard, the big restricted free agent of the day, at a 4-year, $42 million contract, which equals up to 10.5. Aaron Ekblad, like we said earlier, 8 years, that hurts me to read, $6.1 million. Another very big signing, I would say, is Romanov.
I was just going to say at Columbus, at 8.5.
Yeah,
I actually think 8.5 is like not that bad. Considering Darnell Nurse is 9.5. I mean, I'm going to look for Columbus making a big splash on this free agent too. We got a lot of cap space here.
You guys surprised about the length of these contracts?
No, because the cap's going to go up.
Yeah, we're with Adam.
We got to get creative to give these players this money, right?
Yeah, and
I know,
with
I agree with Adam here. That's a shocker.
Yeah, I didn't think Florida was going to be able to keep everyone. I was looking at, and I honestly thought Ekblad was going to be the odd man out. But when you're able to keep Bennett for under 8, Ekblad for under 8, and Marchand for under 6, all of a sudden you got some cap space available.
Well, imagine the endorsement deals these guys are going to get if they do repeat, because then you're going to start saying the word dynasty if they repeat. They've made the cup run 4 years in a row and won 3 out of 4 cups. I mean, we haven't seen a team win 3 cups in a row since the 80s with the Oilers and the Islanders. So, I mean, I think if they get the third, you can officially call this a dynasty, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, because other ones like the Tampa Bay Lightning, for example, I would consider it dominant, not a dynasty, and that's something.
We also won a cup in that COVID year too. Doesn't really impress. That's Tania Train says it doesn't impress me much. What?
What are you talking?
Doesn't impress me much. They won in the COVID year. Okay. And Tania Train sings that song. Don't impress me much. You know, he's 70 now. Is that crazy?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So who's your guys' top 6 right now?
Toronto's top 6? So I do
Like,
have.
did you change enough of the DNA with losing?
So your
Marner?
top six, your top line currently, you're looking Nyes, Matthews, Domi. Basically, Domi's
What about
becoming.
Nylander, bro?
Hold on, let me finish, bruh. Then you have the new player Marcel, Tavares, and Nylander. Then Lawton, Waugh, and McMahon, Lawrence, Kempf, Yarncroke. That's what you're looking like for the Leafs right now. However, like I said, they have cap space left. I could really see them going after Ehlers or I actually don't know how much they're going to go after Brock Besser. I don't really feel Brock Besser is what up, Mr. Shades. And yes, what a party in Ottawa.
Oh, that was amazing. CFL party with
CFL party. And that is actually something I do want to get into. Yes. I do want to get into that actually, how I used
campaign mode.
Yeah. And I Leaves blow anyway. It's not a great look on that team right now. But I do want to actually at some point talk about the CFL there. And I wish other teams would, I'm going to say it, like the Toronto Argos, would look at what the Ottawa Red Blacks do.
Yeah.
And realize that what they do is a vibe, right? Like it's a party. They lost and it was still a party. Like that's gotta count for something. I mean, like, let's be honest here. You go in there, they have live music, they have free giveaways, different sponsor booths. They had games going on. Like you had like Chuck of football and all these other things going on where you got prizes if you hit the targets. Dan, that's something you should have done. I would love to see you try to do that. Would have been hilarious. And
yeah, I should. I wasn't thinking of that.
They had like the Heights person on the big stilts, and then after the game, you get to go on the field and throw a football around. Like I'm just looking at that, and I'm like, no wonder why they're selling tickets.
And the location,
right? I look at that and like, that's why you're selling on average 8,000 seats more than you do in Toronto. And don't get me wrong, when I'm saying this, I love my Toronto Argos. I love supporting the team. And I got to say, where we were sitting was our Argo fans, besides of Mr. Shades. And yes, I did grab a photo with the Red Blacks lumber, which was just really cool. But like going to the Argos, and the Argos fans, I don't think get enough respect for how passionate they are. Like there was a good, I would say at least 75 Argo fans who made the trip.
Maybe even
like it's around the
100.
corner for everyone. Maybe even 100. Especially, you look at guys like Ginger Argo, who I think he goes to like every game. And Dan, we were chatting with a couple other Argo fans right by us, and
you look at a Dictator too. He's a conductor for the fight song. He's amazing.
More access. States, thank you. That is literally the perfect way to put it. Like I think Ottawa just does more for their fan base. Like truthfully, after going to one, I want to go back to Ottawa for another game, whether it's against Toronto or not. It was a blast.
The other thing I want to say too is the location of the field in Ottawa. I mean, it's the perfect location because parking could be a little difficult, but you got shopping right there. You got a movie theater right there. You got arcade right there. You got a farmer's market right there. You got tons of restaurants right there. So you can easily make like a full day date. And you got the river, like the canal right there too. So like we showed up at like 12 o'clock and we just hung out there the whole day because there's so much to do. Versus BMO Field is a good location to get to for access, mind you, but it's one go stop away from the downtown core. And I think hurts it a little bit. I understand there's no place to put a football field in downtown Toronto, but it's
okay.
Like,
but I'm going to counter you here. Doug Ford keeps going on and on and on about how we're going to revitalize Ontario Place.
True, yeah.
Revitalize Ontario Place and get it rocking again.
Well, they are working on it, right? It's under construction right now. And that's a very good point. Once Ontario Place is walking, it's literally across the street. So maybe you got restaurants and movie theaters and mall and whatever right down there. That would be really good access for the Argos because I mean, when there's something going on the exhibition grounds, it's great for the Argos, right? When the CNE's there or when the Toronto Indies there, it's just that unfortunately it's not something's there every week, right? They got the
But Dan,
Regal
to me, that's not an
Coliseum.
excuse because what the Red Blacks did was just make it a party. And I don't feel the Argos make it a party. They make it a football game and then you go home.
Yeah. Like, it was
it was-
unbelievable how many fans were still at the stadium and all these restaurants and stuff nearby well after the game in Ottawa, right? It's like, we're probably partying there. It's like, 3 a.m, right? It's like, why not? I think that's what Jacob is saying. It makes it, we even have a condo right on the football field, bro. So like you can.
But I mean, let's say at BMO Field, when the game is done, you could go down in the field, walk around the field. Never mind that, security practically shoves you out the door the second the game's even over. I've had it where I'm just trying to walk around and take pictures and you're being kicked out of the stadium. Like, I get it to a point, but at the same time, I just think, and this is definitely another conversation for another day where I think we really get into this. I want to do more research on what other CFL teams do. I mean, even the Red Black store was better. It was just a real, it's right at the stadium, right? You want to go get Argos swag on a daily basis. You got to go in the downtown to the real sports store. And Chazzy, I'm sure you're aware of this. Their hours online are not even accurate. Like, you never know when the damn store's open. It's just, Dan and I went down there one year for Boxing Day, and it's like, oh, Boxing Day blowout. So we drive from Barrie, because their website says Boxing Day blowout, open at 11. It was closed. And when we talk to other people there, they're like, oh, yeah, it's just what happens around here.
Yeah. I don't know about other CFL cities, but for like BC, for example, I went to the Grey Cup when I was in BC. And again, it's like Ottawa, the stadium is right in the downtown core, right? So you got restaurants, Gazoo and shopping and everything right by the arena, which is fantastic. Hamilton's a little bit like BMO Field, the donut box here.
But Dan, Hamilton, it's still more of a party.
Yeah, way more party. I agree with you, but it's very unique because it's in a residential area, right? So you got houses all over the place. So you go to a Ticast game, it's like going to small town America. Like, you got houses all around the field and people charging a park on the grass and people partying at their houses and Ticats sidewalks and flags in the windows. And
like prime example in Hamilton, the bus is free to get
like
you
theirs.
Yeah, but Dan, a prime example in Hamilton, right? They will free bus.
Yes.
Ottawa, free bus.
Yeah.
Toronto, pay to get there. $30 a park, no shuttle. By the way, half the time the lot's not even open. No season ticket gate. I don't know. After going to there, and like I said, I really want to do more. Actually, you know what? Tell me about your experiences, guys, at other CFL stadiums you've been to for games. What are they doing? What's the vibe like? Is it a party? Is there more going on? The Argos don't even have a shipyard area right now, which was an area that was supposed to be kind of games, and like the cheerleaders were there and stuff. But again, still, I'll be honest, comparing it to what Ottawa was doing, it just wasn't the same.
Comparison, right? Now, with the construction, that's a little tough. Can't blame them for that. But we're talking about growing. We talked about this in previous episodes, like growing the CFL game, marketing the sports teams, getting younger audience to the CFL, getting butts and seats, getting more people watching on TV, right? I think making a better fan experience could really make all those things happen. And you're owned by Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, so you got tons of money to throw at this. Like, look at BC. The owner is constantly getting, like, Snoop Dogg and Fitty and LL Cool J for halftime shows and stuff. Like, even Ottawa had a halftime show last night. They had JJ Wild, who put on a party, right? So,
it's a vibe. I even look at the Toronto Blue Jays, right? The Blue Jays, let's be honest, a lot of people don't go for the baseball. They go because it's a vibe, right? How many people do you know who go to Jays games who don't even sit in their seat the entire game and they literally just walk around?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium, right? And especially you got the roof open. There's all kinds of activities to go to. There's all kinds of these really, since they revamped the Sky Dome past year or so, there's a lot of cool new places like the WestJet Flight Deck just to stand, and the corner and the TD box. All these cool little unique places you can stand to get different views of the arena and stuff. I mean, you can get into a Blue Jay game for $20 a standing room only and not even have a seat, right? Because there's so many different places you can go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
No, I don't know. It's
really
again,
cool
it's
too.
just. Oh, Dan, you have a hat fan in the comments yet again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, switching it up a little bit. Well, Jacob there stole my Streakers hat for the Ottawa game. So, but hey,
Wow.
people, little interesting news. We've heard you talk, and we do have merchandise on the way. So, people want to grab a hat? Stay tuned.
But I think maybe we'll shift back to the NHL for a little bit again, and then we can always come back to CFL stuff. That's why I always like, guys, remember, for these live shows, you, the audience, really gets to drive the show, which is something
Well, that's the thing. Like, we're talking hockey, and all of a sudden Shades chops into CFL. So, boom, we're talking CFL. So, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about.
But if I'm the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think they need one more. I think your defense is fine. I actually think your
bottom on the contract too. Oh,
your bottom six is fine. I'd like a little more than Marcel on that second line.
I'm sorry, that trade is a joke.
Dan,
that was stupid. Even Blypup and I were kind of debating in our private chat today, right? And Blypup's like, "Oh, that's a good trade." And I get most people like Jacob and Blypup will totally say that, and I understand. But you look at what Florida did, and its 185-pound winger is going to go against Masanta, Bennett, and Acklad in the playoffs. Unless they're like flipping him, like it reminds me of Alexander Kerfoot all over again. Like that's what I'm saying too.
I think
if you could get Ehlers to like 7-8 million,
because
like he'd probably get like 80 points playing with Matthews, right? So you gotta replace 100 points somewhere.
No. I would not be putting Ehlers with Matthews. I'm leaving Domi on the Matthews-Nyes line. I would want Ehlers on the second line to play with Tavares and Nylander. Then you move Marcel down to the third line with Lawton and Waugh. Then, sorry, Yarncroke, you're riding the bench again. Lawrence, Kemp, and McMahon. Now all of a sudden,
out.
I'm not buying him out, Dan. He's only $2.1 million, and he's a great depth player.
Well, true. To what? Call me crazy. I'm going to go off the board here, and I'm going to say the free agent. Oh, maybe he's not a free agent. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to make a trade. I'm going to flip this Marcel kid that we just got for no reason. I'm calling up Chicago, and I'm bringing back Tyler Bertuzzi. He played so well with Matthews and Domi.
That's been rumored.
A 5.5 cap hit. And last year, he was terrible in Chicago. He was a minus 39, which I get is Chicago, right? But he was a minus 39, 46 points still. It was 20 goal scorer in Toronto. He's a consistent 20 or 30 goal scorer in Toronto. He's big and physical. These are the type of players we need versus this Marcel guy from Phoenix of all places.
Dan, we don't know. We haven't seen enough of his game. Some guys are.
Now that's the thing. Maybe I'm completely crazy.
Hold up. Wait a minute. What if you look at Martin St. Louis? Was he wimpy?
No, but he's not fighting against Massant and Ken Bennett either.
He was going, Dan. He was in. Oh, cry me a bloody river. He's in a way tougher era. Paul Correa literally blacks out, comes out 10 minutes later and scores a huge goal. Doesn't even remember the goal, which by the way,
wouldn't happen nowadays.
The NHL doesn't do that anymore. But what I mean is, like, Chazzy, would you agree with me when I'm saying it's not the size, it's the tenacity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many times have we seen players who are huge and like they do jack squat physicality?
Like Tyler Biggs.
Or look at Nick Ritchie.
Yeah,
if you remember, a lot of people, including Don Cherry, wanted the Leafs to draft Nick Ritchie instead of William Nylander. Will go down as one of Don Cherry's worst takes ever. Let's just keep it a buck there.
Sure. Yeah.
And You look at that, that's what I mean. So, like, it's not always about the size of the player. I'm not saying William Nylander's the top
And that's
player.
the thing. Maybe I'll be completely wrong. Maybe this Marcel guy gets 60 points playing in the top 6 of the Leafs, and
at
3.43 million is a great move. But I'm just not feeling it right now.
For a third-round draft pick last year on his restricted deal, I like this trade. If you can't get someone else. Because let's be honest, if you couldn't get anyone, what are you doing? You're putting McMahon on that line.
It reminds me of Nick Robinson. This player, this seems like another Nick Robinson.
I don't think so, Dan, because he's had sustained NHL, and that's
now we offer. Apparently, we can whine about it all you want.
I think the Leafs may go after Jason Robertson if Dallas wants to move him.
Oh no!
Why? He's a great player.
No.
Yes, he is.
His blubber failed here, so let's bring in his blubber. Like, what?
Okay, Dan, that's like saying if you can't hook up a mobile truck, I shouldn't be hired.
Oh,
idiocy.
No, because both Robinson players, both Robinson blubbers are pro hockey players and wingers. I am not a producer. You are not a car salesperson. Okay, so even though we're brothers, we do two opposite jobs. These two brothers do the exact same job. One's an 80-point, one's a 100-point guy, and one does nothing. I don't know. I just don't like the whole. I don't think Jason Wampa. You have a trade, number one, for him. I don't know.
Maybe that's what you brought in this Marcel to do.
What did Robertson sign?
Jason Robertson.
I don't think Nick Robertson resigns in Toronto. I think he's going to leave. I don't see why he would want to come back here.
Is he unrestricted?
He's restricted. That's the only hiccup for him.
I mean, do what as much as I
don't even have him in the lineup next year.
Well, because right now he's not signed. Actually, if he does sign, Yarncroke probably comes out. Robertson goes in.
Well, I was going to say because of Marner not coming back, there might be a spot for Robertson, right? As much as I poke fun at him. He's a good guy.
He's actually, honestly, he's a pretty decent player. He's not as bad as Dan goes on.
He has a really good shot. His shot is amazing. He could shoot the puck like that every game. He would probably be like a 30-goal scorer. Like, he has a really good shot. But you just see him in clips, and you see a lot of defensive lapses and forechecking lapses. And the thing is, he can skate. If he couldn't skate, I would get it. But this guy can really skate. That's what.
Was he getting top minutes?
No. God.
No, he wasn't at all in Toronto. He still got, 15 goals and 22 points, playing 34 points,
69 games. By the way, great number. And in the playoffs, he did put up 2 points in 3 games.
Right.
Yeah, limited ice time.
And that's the thing. He's only averaging 12 minutes a game and managed to score 15 goals.
Yeah,
pretty
good, no?
His shooting percentage is supposed to be pretty good, too, actually.
13%.
Yeah, see, it's pretty good. I would say anything over 10 is good.
What I mean of Nick Robertson, maybe now he finally cracks the lineup consistently, right? Maybe he's a guy that moves up to your top 6 of Nylander and Tavares. I wouldn't mind that experiment. Because Leaf Nation needs to understand something. The Leafs will not be as good this year as they were last year. Get that through your head right now. Whether you like Mitch Marner or not, he put up 102 points. Right. You cannot replace 102 points with Marcel and Robertson. That will not happen. Even
Lucky get 50 points out of those
two. Is a phenomenal player. I agree with Adam. That's who I think the Leafs should be going for. He's gritty. He's got some tenacity, and he can score. If you are thinking he is going to put up the same numbers as Mitch Marner, you've been drinking way too much. You've been drinking more sauce than Chazzy did at the trailer.
Sorry. So hold on. So you guys are like changing the DNA, but you're not anticipating you're going to be better than last year.
In the regular season, no, we'll be worse. And I'm fine with that. That's something we have learned. In the playoffs. I think the NHL is shifting now. Winning the division means nothing. Home ice means nothing except ticket sale revenue.
I don't think Marcel is going to give us a Stanley Cup. I don't think Marcel is going to fight against Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, Aaron Ekblad, Sergei Bobrovsky. Those are the 5 guys you have to beat.
That's wild.
I'm sure now Dan's just going to go on the reason Joseph Woll needs to fight Sam Bennett. That's what.
No, I don't mean physical fight. I mean like fight for the ice time, fight for the stop, fight for the win.
You don't know that. You don't know how this kid plays. You know nothing about him.
Well, that's very true. I don't. But I
don't
see
know
it.
the comment yet because as the signing was happened, I was making the trek back from Ottawa to the Hammer so we could do this show for everyone tonight. Back over to the comments. We shouldn't be building to only play one team one way. That would be incredibly dumb. You're being called out, Mr. War4. The incredibly dumb way to build your team.
Okay, well, we lost against the same team multiple times, and that same team has gone on to win the cup. So unless everyone in Florida gets COVID or something,
at the end
we
of
gotta
the
get
day,
this going.
Okay, let me preface this by saying I agree with the retool. But at the end of the day, you did take them to 7 games. You're not as far off as everyone's acting like this team sucks. And at the end of the day, you took the best team in the playoffs to 7. You were the only team to do that. You did that with your backup goaltender. You did that with an unhealthy Austin Matthews. You did it with a mopey Mitch Marner.
Wow, is this the analyst talking right now?
It is. And what I'm getting at is I don't think you change this entire team to beat one team. There's a big difference between a rebuild and a retool. For example, we see this in the CFL every year. Teams make multiple changes to their lineups because of these short-term contracts. And actually, I think that is where the shift is going to come for the middle-aged players. Look at Evan Bouchard at that 4-year deal. 3 years ago, that's an 8-year deal at about 8, right? Instead, it's a 4-year deal at 10. So we're going to be seeing teams rebuilding retooling every 3-4 years. Now, I think that's the new NHL. And in this new NHL, I agree with Adam 1,000%. Yeah, I do agree the Leafs need to get a little tougher. So you go out and get a Granlund on free agency. I actually think Granlund may be the perfect option.
Granlund?
He's tough. He's tough.
He's not going to beat anyone up, though.
You don't have how many fights did Florida have in the playoffs, Dan?
Well, probably not many.
You don't fight in the playoffs. You don't need to beat people up. Look at Ryan Reeves. Look at Matt Rempe. All these enforcers, did they play a single play in the playoffs? No.
Well, Matt Rempe didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
I still think Nick Robertson might be in your lineup, depending if you need goal scoring.
I didn't actually bring him up. I'm just saying it was no Marner. You might have to bring him up, right?
Or and remember what everyone's forgetting about is Mr. Memorial Cup winner, Easton Cowan.
That's true. Maybe
all of a sudden, Easton Cowan has a kick-ass preseason. He's on the second line. Marcel moves down to the third. Robertson's flipping burgers. Yarncroke's flipping burgers.
You think they'll bring a rookie in on the first year?
I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
It could happen.
Okay, I'll be honest. With Craig Berube, probably not.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's something Leaf fans need to remember.
Right. I did forget that.
But Chazzy, what's happening with Dvorak in Montreal? I heard Montreal was trying to move him. Looks like that's not happening as the free agency window is going to be open in a couple hours. What's your take on Christian Dvorak? Is he a guy that if a team's looking for a bottom 6 center, hopefully rumored that he's going to be getting around that $2.8 million contract? That's pretty good, I think, for what he does. But what's your thought, Chazzy? And are you upset that Montreal's probably losing him?
Oh, no, not at all. I think I was just with one of the biggest Montreal fans all weekend. So they're just still over the moon with the Dobson trade. So
of course.
Let the chips fall where they may be in the free agency. I think that was probably one of the biggest.
Mind you, I think that Dobson trade was the move you needed.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Sure. Especially you're losing Savard, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry, but you cannot
Savard
compare. Yeah. Can you imagine Dobson and Hudson together? If that chemistry can click, that's exciting.
And you got him for 8 years. So
yes, because you remember back when Dobson played with Taves, who's now in Colorado. Noah Dobson was arguably a top 5 defenseman in the NHL. Get him with
Very
the right
underrated.
partner. He's very, very good. So I'm curious to see how he works out in Montreal. So
Well,
you don't
there
think
was-
Montreal's going to be busy tomorrow?
Well, there's speculation that his contract actually determined what Bouchard sort of was going to sign around in Edmonton, if that's true or not. But he sort
I
of
can
set
see
the
that.
chaos.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, I'm going to have
Sure.
a very unpopular opinion. I'm thinking Noah Dobson is better than Evan Bouchard.
Definitely better defensively.
Bouchard-
No, I
is
think they
cheap.
just said because of playoff experience has basically got him that little bit more. Or what?
Yeah, but it's
Bouchard
bad
Noah
playoff
Dobson's been to 2
experience.
conference finals.
ranked a
What's
little
the
bit
point?
more.
Noah Dobson has took the Islanders to 2 conference finals.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just recent play. So
Okay, but the Islanders aren't a good team. The Oilers are. That's kind of recency bias there. And does anyone think that Evan Bouchard took them to the Stanley Cup Finals, or is he just there for the ride?
And do what I call
He's more there for the ride. It's McDavid and Draisaitl who takes them there. And Drew Fouy, if you're Edmonton, I don't give 2 hootin' nannies what you do unless you get a goalie.
Yeah.
You can't run it back. Running it back with Skinner and Pickard would have been like the Leafs signing Mitch Marner again. Completely.
Which with Doofus, it could have done that.
And I think you look at it. Number one, you should have just traded for Gibson. And Adam, if you're still in the comment section, I'm sure we're going to hear a lot from Max about. I'm sure you're going to hear a lot from Max about that when you're back at work. But okay, and actually, before I get into my comment, let's head back to the comment section. And I agree, Bouchard's offense doesn't cancel defense liability. That's why I feel Noah Dobson's a way better contract. Bouchard's $7 million to me. That series was lost when Evan Bouchard didn't back check and Brad Marchand scored the goal in overtime in game 2. I agree with Lane now 1,000%. That's what lost the Oilers the cup. And to bring him back at that much money, which, by the way, Edmonton has no money, and you got to re-sign Connor McDavid next year? Potentially, you want to re-sign him July 1st just so there's no drama.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know how we're going to do that.
Because let's just be completely real here. If Marner and Rantanen are worth 12, what's McDavid worth? Because he's better than both.
Oh, for sure.
14?
14?
15?
Is he going to be the first 15?
15?
I think so.
16, depending on what the max is.
Yeah.
What is the max right now?
But I think by next year, it's going up to potentially 16.
What's the max now, like right now?
14.5, roughly. I think it's because it's what, 15. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the max a player could get is roughly 15% of the cap, correct?
The maximum contract a player can sign is for 20% of the current cap. So what they're saying is by the 25-26, which is when McDavid's deal is up, he could be getting paid $19.1 million a year.
Oh,
Potentially. But you got to ask yourself, if Mitch Marner's worth 12,
McDavid's worth more than that.
Mikko Rantanen's worth 12,
Worth more than
McDavid's in
that.
a taxed province, could he be getting 17?
Yeah, because both Rantanen and Marner, Vegas and Texas, they're not really tax states, right? I think that's one reason why Marner went the way he did, because he's all about the money, Clay Query, So,
Well, no, I think Vegas gives him a chance to win, Dan. I disagree with you there. Vegas gives him a chance to win.
I understand that, but I mean,
Apparently not. But Vegas certainly gives you a chance to win. But
what I'm
looking at
saying is, you look at guys like Tavares and Matty Knives, they took hometown discounts.
Hey, guess how much cap space Edmonton has to get a goalie?
0.
$550,000. Not even
Not
a
league minimum contract.
So you have to. So you got to trade Stuart Skinner, I guess. But who takes him?
Yeah, who do I take?
And that's the thing. Why not just call? If Edmonton took Peter, I mean, if not Dallas, whoever,
Detroit,
Anaheim took Peter frickin' Mrazek, they would have taken Stuart Skinner.
Oh, for sure.
Do you boys agree?
Yeah.
Both mediocre goalies who shouldn't be starters in the NHL, but are going to be anyways.
I think Peter Mrazek is better. I know he struggled as a Maple Leaf, but I think he's a bit better when people give him credit.
He's not better than Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner, at the end of the day,
no, I agree with you. Yeah,
cutouts in the playoffs. I don't even know if Stuart Skinner is the only problem in Edmonton, but he certainly isn't the solution. So you have to move on from him.
Call me crazy.
Skinner, I see. Even Skinner's only a $2.6 million cap hit. So even if you trade him,
Yeah.
who are you getting?
For
Samson?
$3 million, not much.
You're getting Samson, like free agency.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, Samsonov's going to be a free agent again.
Yeah, I know.
I
but
can see Edmonton getting him.
Oh my! I don't know if that's better or worse.
Totally crazy. I think Stuart Skinner, as much as we all poke fun at him, can go to a really defensive NHL team. Maybe Carolina, for example, Freddie Anderson getting a better order. And I think he'll be a really good goalie elsewhere. I really believe that. I just think in Edmonton, he just, for whatever reason, can't do it.
I guess for Edmonton, and again, comment section, chime in, please. Anton Forsberg, I guess, is your best option you can maybe afford.
I would say Samson.
You're not going to be able to afford Jake Allen. He's projected to get in at anywhere up to 5.5.
That's a lot for Jake.
I
love the guy. He's getting
to get 1.5, but he had a 2.88 goals against average and an 891 save percentage in Vegas. That just screams Stuart Skinner numbers.
Yeah, literally.
Georgiev's bad.
He was good in Toronto in the season, Samsonov.
Georgiev's not great at 3.71 goals against average, 875 save percentage. What a bad team. But still, I look at Anton Forsberg if Ottawa doesn't find a way to sign him.
Yeah.
The rumor looking like a $2.8 million cap hit, 901 save percentage, 2.72 goals against average, and he's in his 30s. So he's old enough to have some experience. Ottawa made the playoffs this year, so at least he got to, even if we didn't play, he got to feel what that's like.
For sure.
He's your best option in Edmonton.
Call me crazy here. I have a comment going back to...
Or maybe Alex Lyon. Maybe actually Alex Lyon as well. A young goalie I'd maybe take a chance on. Had some success in Florida. He was basically what got them to the Cup the year that Bobrovsky took over, and then they lost in the finals.
Are you setting up sort of a mid-tier trade, knowing you got so little, you got a big hole?
You have to, I think.
And you trade one of your horses to get, I don't know.
Okay, so question for you then.
Back in net.
Would you trade Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to bring in a true number one goalie in Edmonton?
Quite possibly. Or a Nurse, if you can get rid of Nurse.
Darnell Nurse, no one is going to take that contract who has a goalie that's...
problem with Nugent-Hopkins, I love him. But the problem with Edmonton is, where else he's got an amazing cap hit at $4 million. Where else are you going to get that good of a second-line center for $4 million? I think he's even better than John Tavares and Matt Duchene, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a no-trade clause. That's why he signed as little as he did. I think that's why Edmonton had to trade Evander Kane, because they have $500,000 in cap space without Evander Kane's $5 million. So talk about cap HEE hockey sticks. It's really bad there.
As much as I want to see Connor hoist the cup, I just don't know. You cannot turn this back again, knowing what the other teams in this conference, hence the Vegas just did, and expect to be back there again.
No, it's
my question is, does Connor McDavid even want a contract for next year?
I heard that he's open to start the discussion, supposedly.
But even Edmonton next year's in a okay. So Edmonton next year has a projected $49 million in cap space.
Yeah, but half of
that sounds like a lot.
No,
but all of a sudden, let's say, I don't know. Let's say 18 goes to McDavid. Then you have Kapanen, Arvidsson, two guys, Ekholm, Wallman, Kulak, all needing contracts. And
Ekholm's going to want big dollars. Ekholm's going to want big bucks.
I would think so. I think Ekholm's a steal.
And actually, never mind that. What's crazy, Edmonton, they have no cap space and no depth. Right now, restricted free agent, Corey Perry, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown. So Jeff Skinner, Corey Perry, Connor Brown.
Well, the Leafs need to bring Connor Brown back. Yeah.
Right? So you have that.
Defense,
your defense is, unfortunately for Edmonton, your defense is set. And I say unfortunate because it's okay, well, Klingberg, you don't care about losing him. So for $500,000, $500,000, the Oilers need a fourth line and a number one goalie. And you got to replace Evander Kane. Huh?
Didn't Edmonton resign Klingberg, or am I just crazy?
You're
I thought that was
crazy.
when Musa did yesterday.
Nope.
Oh,
I don't know
it's
why the
Kapanen.
hell you're paying. I guess you'll trade Arvidsson. That's $4 million in cap space.
Yeah,
for
I can
some
see
bizarre
him being
reason.
gone.
Why the
Yeah.
hell are they paying him $4 million? Good Lord.
Because he was a 30 goal scorer in Los Angeles.
I agree with Adam here. Edmonton's acting like they're not in trouble. I think Edmonton might be bad.
Yeah.
Adam Henrique's last year, his deal too.
He was a really good player for Edmonton.
But do you move him? Last year,
I think Edmonton's worse than Toronto. I hate to say it.
Because I don't think Edmonton's got yeah, and you boys can correct me if I'm wrong. Edmonton doesn't have a great farm system right now either. Like I don't think they have a bunch of young studs.
I don't think they had really high enough draft picks to get like top end prospects. I mean, Pavel Datsyuk and Zetterberg were 7th round picks. I'm not saying they're all bad, but not like they got a first overall pick in the last decade,
You know what's crazy to me though? Edmonton spends 35% of their cap on defense, and their defense sucks.
I know. Yeah.
And right now, 57% goes to forwards. And you have McDavid at 12.5 right now, so actually here's perfect thing. Dry said it was 14 mil right now. So McDavid has to be paid at least 14. You can't pay him less than
at least. Yeah.
Unless he I don't know, boys. I think Edmonton's in a lot of trouble.
Well, I want to add a comment here. We'll go back up a little bit to Chazzy's team. So I think Montreal is actually looking really good with the Noah Dobson trade. So let's talk about a positive Canadian team.
Like apples and oranges here.
Literally.
Apples and oranges. Why do they need to be compared?
When it comes to Kristen Dvorak as a setter, I know, Jacob, you were saying about $2.5 million, but with these big names being signed up today, the free agent class getting a little smaller and free agent class getting more into depth, call me crazy. I think Kristen Dvorak's going to get paid. I think he's going to get a minimum $3.5 million tomorrow.
You got a big
I don't
problem.
know from what team, but maybe Washington. I don't know. I think a team elsewhere.
You have a huge problem in Montreal right now.
Probably.
Sorry, Jazzy, to tell you. Have you checked your cap situation?
There's
You're
what?
over by $3.39 million right now.
Whoa.
You're over. So
now, they got some time to get down. They have to get down before the season starts, right?
You still have at least you only unrestricted free agent forwards are Joe Amir, Dvorak, and Petit.
I thought they signed Amir. Maybe not.
No. Oh my gosh, Chazzy, help me. Michael Petizia. P-E-Z-Z.
Oh yeah, that 4-fighter dude. Yeah.
I just call him Michael Pizza.
I don't know how I pronounce his name. I know you're talking
Michael Pizza, we'll call him. No, pepperoni. But the Oilers, the Canadians are actually in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Because, and two, even next year, they're only going to have $38 million, and Lane Hutson's contract's going to be up.
Yeah.
And things like that. So.
Broussard just got 10 if Lane Hutson has a 80,
and the
point year.
You don't have a backup goalie right now if you haven't signed Dobis yet. He's a restricted free agent. So you still probably got to give Dobis at least, 1.5?
Mm-hmm.
You'd say Chaz?
I think Patrick Laine could be going from Montreal because I liked him.
Who wants Laine at 8.7?
Anaheim, Utah, a team like that.
If anyone says Toronto, I will hit them. Toronto does not need more. And Chazzy, I'm curious if you agree with me because you watch the Habs obviously more than I do. Toronto does not need another prima donna goal scorer, and I feel that's what Patrick Laine is. But he was a big piece on your team. He's a big reason why you got to the playoffs because your power play was a big stinker until he came in, and then he fixed it.
Yeah.
I agree with Adam here. Trade market could be interesting tomorrow as well if all the big free agents gone.
Yes, definitely. We'll be definitely.
So Montreal's got to move someone to clear cap space. So we're talking about trades.
I was Landry's the one you move, like, but
to move Line A, you're going to have to eat some of his salary.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's actually Montreal. I hate saying this, and again, Chaz, you can throw something at me if you would like. I look at Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher, and those are one of those guys I think has got to go. I think they're movable contracts, more movable than Patrick Laine. I think more teams are looking for these gritty top 9 forwards.
Josh Anderson would be great as a Leaf.
Brandon Gallagher would be great as a Leaf. I would.
He would be. I like both of those players.
So, Craig, could you see? I've been hearing rumors about Brandon Gallagher potentially being out the door. Could you see Montreal moving a Brandon Gallagher or a Josh Anderson?
Oh, possibly one of these pieces to free up some room.
Well, because I don't think you have a choice. Unless you move Kirby Daw, because he's a free agent who can't stay healthy. I would keep Daw personally at 3.36 because I think if he could stay healthy, he's a hell of a player.
I like Kirby Daw. I liked him back in Chicago days.
But you gotta move minimum $3.5 million. So I'm looking at Laine, Anderson, and Gallagher because you need a backup goalie too. So I'd say you probably got to move 5. Moving one of those pieces fixes your problem.
Right.
And you just got to hope another stud is ready to. Well, actually, you need more than that too, because you're losing 3 roster players potentially to free agency.
Well, you got some farm club coming up, some talent, young talent.
That's true.
That's true. We do have that.
So I'm just curious. So I'm saying this. I think Montreal was actually in a good spot. I think the Noah Dobson contract and signing was a good decision.
Me too.
Seeing Bouchard getting 10.5, Noah Dobson at 9.5, I'd be very happy. Makes me worried when you got to re-sign Lane Hudson, but you cross that bridge next year when the cap goes up and you have a projected $38 million in cap space that year.
Just a reminder to the fans out there, I'm looking it up. Brandon Gallagher is a $6.5 million cap hit. Which I guess at the time it was a good contract.
A team will be willing to put up with Gallagher's contract because I think he's a playoff type player, right?
Well, after you look at,
I think teams are going to be changing what they're going for because as Adam, I agree with Adam when he said, and I will even put the comment back up there just because he basically called Dan dumb, and I love it.
Oh, come on!
Let me find it. Well, I don't know where it went, but I know it's here somewhere. Anyways, but I look.
You're so dumb, we can't even find it.
That is true. But I look at it here. Every team is going to be building to try to beat Florida. And to beat Florida, guys like Josh Anderson and Brandon Gallagher type players you want. I agree that it's incredibly stupid to try to build a team to beat one team.
And Josh Anderson's a $5 million cap hit. I don't know. I think Josh Anderson's from the Toronto area. He always amps up his game against Toronto. I don't know if I could get. Oh yeah, it's from Burlington. Yeah, right around the corner from here. So if I could get Josh Anderson or Brandon Gallagher, I would be happy with any one of those players. Even though we're not going to get the points Mitch Marner gets, obviously, right? But I mean, I say Josh Anderson just because it's a $1.5 million cap space less, and that's the difference of signing a guy like Steve Lorentz.
I just wanted to put it back on the screen because I think this comment nails it right on the head, and I think we're going to see a lot of teams doing it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of teams trying to build Florida. And I'll be honest, I don't know if anyone else can build what Florida has because, too, what everyone's forgetting is they have Sergei Bobrovsky. And there is no one available that is Sergei Bobrovsky level. There are guys...
Like Adam said, that's why we could seriously see some big trades happening.
Yeah, but Dan, but let's say you're trying to recreate the Florida Panthers, and we're gonna take off soon because I've been up for way too many hours. But let's say you're trying to rebuild the Florida Panthers. Who's Bobrovsky that is available?
That's the thing that's available. That's the
absolutely thing. No one. Your closest was John Gibson, who is no longer available. Well, which, by the way, for Detroit, great.
They're quietly building something there.
Detroit
Yeah,
was
I lost
close
that Patty
this year.
Kane whatever
All
year.
they needed was a good goalie instead of 48 mediocre ones.
Actually, call me crazy. I'm kind of surprised that Patty Kane signed in Detroit. I guess because he took the $7 million. Because I thought that Patty Kane was going to go Winnipeg. Because someone has to replace Nikolai Ehlers, and Kane could go back and play with Jonathan Taves. So I thought it would be reunited again tomorrow. I really did, but that's not going to happen now.
That'll be interesting to see with the Winnipeg Jets how much more they do as well. I don't see them. The only thing I will see is either them bringing back Ehlers or going after Brock Besser to replace him, because I think that is your closest Ehlers replacement. I don't see the Leafs going after Brock Besser, like I said, because he's not. I don't feel he's that DNA change they need. Not saying he's a wimpy player, but he's not a physical one either. He's kind of in the middle. I'd compare him more to a Nylander. I guess Dan likes him without a shirt on, and that's why.
No, I don't mean like that. I mean, I like Brock. He was a 40-goal scorer 2 years ago, Brock Besser, right? I like Nikolai Ehlers. That's why I'm saying, in my opinion, okay, now they lost Mitch Marner. And all these considering, I think the fact that they actually got Roy for Mitch Marner, not that that's a great trade in any other day, but today, I think that was a great trade. Because you got Marner for a Cup 1. You got Marner to give you the division championship in the season. And you got something. You got a roster player in return from Mitch Marner. And I really like Roy. I think that's a great trade.
I actually think Roy's a little underrated.
I agree with you. I really do. But now you got to get someone to replace Mitch Marner on your top line to play with Matthews and Knives. So,
no, you don't.
In my opinion, you either have to get Besser or Ehlers tomorrow. And if you don't, you have a problem.
So just to remind everyone, Roy in 71 games this year, 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points.
Yeah, 41 points a year before that.
31 points, sorry. So, not a bad player.
Like, he had 41 points the year before as well. And he's just a playoff type of guy. I really like him. I mean,
6'4", 201 pounds. I've got to make sure you have that 1 pound. That's not just a pound of nachos. Like, it's muscle.
Yeah.
But no, I think as much as people are saying they don't know what's going to happen in this free agency, I think it'll be more interesting than people think.
Call me crazy.
Go ahead. Why are you crazy and have to cut me
I'm
off?
just going to say one thing quickly here. I think Ryan Reeves is getting a contract tomorrow. Not from Toronto, but I think a team is going to take a stab at him, league minimum contract tomorrow.
Ryan Reeves is not going anywhere.
I think he's getting a contract.
He'll become like a spiritual advisor. It'll be like Joe Thornton without the beard. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching today. We will be back around 12:30 tomorrow for Free Agent Frenzy. I'll be honest, we're saying 12:30 because we don't want to be like TSN and come on at like 11 o'clock and have absolutely nothing to talk about yet. By 12:30, there'll be some signings. We can start to more break down teams individually. And again, it's a live show, so just comment whatever the heck you are feeling. Maybe we'll break down the rest of the CFL matchups that happened over the weekend.
Maybe.
Because again, we saw some crazy things in the CFL. Argos getting their first win of the year. I'm going to be putting out my power rankings for the Canadian Football League right now. And viewer and friend of the program, Baron, who is a Ticats fan, will be very happy to see. I'm going to say right now, the Ticats are no longer the worst team in the CFL.
Ooh.
After they got their big win against Montreal. But it is time.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to wrap up the show, bud, but okay. What do you want to say?
Very, very quick. The other thing we could be talking about tomorrow.
Chazzy needs milk.
The other thing we can talk about some baseball action. And just a reminder, the Jays are going into the bottom of the ninth with a 5-4 lead against the Yankees. I guess that means they won the game technically. So another win for the Jays.
Never over to that last pitch.
Not over to that last pitch, bud. But
well,
I will say
maybe we'll talk baseball tomorrow too.
If the Jays find a way to win that one, if the Jays can win that series, oh man, does that put an interesting spin on things. And I will say though, if they win that series, you're gonna look back at that White Sox series too and be like, damn, we could have been in first right now.
Yeah.
So make sure you're ready for that. But we will be on around 12:30. We'll have special guests coming on and off throughout the day. Hope Lane might be back. He might not be, but we have other people coming on. It's going to be a hoot and a half. So
If you want to be a special guest, let us know, right? Send us a message,
Dan, depending, yes. But obviously reach out to us. Or if you have your own questions, you can always send us an email with your video question at streakersislandpodcast@gmail.com. But it is time that we sign off for the night. I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst. Ignore the bot in the comments from Twitch. He doesn't exist. He's not real. He is less real than Santa Claus. We also have Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
And of course, the one, the only, everyone's favorite drinking homie. Milk, that is. He's, always the milk. We have Chazzy, the CEO, 6.99. By the way, 6'9", great number, terrible rapper. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye-bye.